and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today I'm talking about the top 10 conspiracy theories that might be true. Some conspiracy theories seem pretty tin hat, but some crazy ones out there have been proven to be true, such as the US government poisoning alcohol to enhance prohibition obedience. Some of the things on this list might sound crazy, but you know what? Time will tell. It always does. And I have to say, there is a hint of legit to them. Before we get into this video, I just want to let you know that you should leave me a comment letting me know what you think is the most legitimate conspiracy on the list, and also why don't you leave a thumbs up on this video and share it with a friend. Also, if you want to connect with the creative team behind this video, the links to our social media are in the description box. Coming in at number 10, Paul Walker was murdered. Paul Walker died aged 40 on the 30th of November 2013 as a result of a fatal car crash. The Fast and Furious star was leaving an event from the Reach Out worldwide charity in California with his friend Roger Rodas. Rodas was driving and the car hit a concrete lamppost and caught fire. Now, a lot of people were very shocked when they saw the state of the car after the crash. It looked more like an anvil had been dropped on it than anything else. The state of the car was what drew in a lot of conspiracy theorists, and there were a whole load of YouTube videos made to debunk the narrative of the official investigation. Some people say that Walker and Rodas were murdered because he discovered corrupt goings on at the charity, a Philippines typhoon relief effort organization. It wouldn't be the first time a disaster relief charity was illegally pocketing money, and honestly, looking at the state of the car, foul play makes a lot more sense than this being a Porsche crashing into a lamppost and this being the result. I get it was at fast speed, but oh my god. Coming in at number 9, we have Throwback Thursday being an NSA scheme. I mean, I've heard wilder conspiracies. So according to some conspiracists, Throwback Thursday is a trend that was invented by the National Security Agency to collect data. Instead of being a cute, sweet social media trend wherein people share old pictures, the rumor goes that actually the NSA wanted more pictures of people as they needed data for their facial recognition technology. Why? Well, people change the way they look a lot. I don't know, like I've lost 20 pounds in the past year and I feel like I look pretty different. But some people change even more dramatically, and having more data to compare makes it easier for the NSA to identify you and to predict what you might look like in the future. Instagram has seen millions of throwback uploads, which is pretty insane. Coming in at number 8, global warming deniers are actually oil fat cats in disguise. Shocker. Is this even a conspiracy theory or just, a genuine trend among people unconcerned with global warming? Well, 97% of scientists all agree that global warming is happening and is as a result of human activity. No dramatic changes have happened to the way in which we treat fossil fuels, not enough to really undo anything anyway. Those who speak the loudest about climate change being a myth tend to be rich people who have something to gain from the oil industry. Oil is what keeps the world running, and there's a lot of money to be made in harvesting it, and many people think those wealthier people who are making mega bucks off oil are also paying certain people to keep quiet on global warming issues, or paying for botched counter studies. Who knows? Coming into number 7, we have the Mandela effect. Some people out there believe in the conspiracy of the Mandela effect, a phenomenon named after the late South African anti-apartheid leader. Basically, some people swear that he died in jail in the 1980s, but in actuality, he died in 2013. People also quarrel over the Bernstein Bears and how it was spelled, whether or not it was Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes, whether it's Sex in the City or Sex and the City. Some conspiracy theorists say this is evidence of a parallel universe, which sounds crazy, but it is actually something that a lot of scientists have pondered. Stephen Hawking, for example, was looking into it shortly before he died. It seemed that Hawking believed that there are multiple universes that exist side by side. Perhaps the Mandela effect is real because there could be multiple outcomes for universes. So if this sounds really interesting to you and you want to watch a whole video dedicated to it, then why not head on over to our sister channel Life's Biggest Questions. Sometimes you can hear my voice but not see my face. It's a good time and there's lots to learn. Coming in at number 6, we have false flag attacks. There have been a number of terror and war related incidents that conspiracists have accused governments of orchestrating for the purposes of garnering support for government interests, like war. Some wild conspiracists have claimed that 9/11 was a false flag attack by the United States government to legitimize war with Iraq. While I absolutely don't believe that, there have been other similar conspiracies that have been true, and while I'd love to tell you that false flag attacks never happened, that just isn't the case. In 1931, Japanese officers justified invading Manchuria by blowing up their own railway. As recently as the 1960s, the US government plotted false flags attacks on their own soil in Operation Northwoods. This was in order to generate support for a possible invasion of Cuba. Declassified documents in 2005 showed this happening again with the Vietnam War. So that was under 60 years ago in the United States. Maybe governments have changed, maybe they're less corrupt now. I have to say though, if that's the way they acted in the earlier modern times, I wouldn't be surprised if some of that still carries over. In that mindset, let's consider the possibility of chemtrails at number 5. According to a number of conspiracists, chemtrails are the long-lasting condensation trails left by planes. The scientific explanation for this is that when the humid air for the jet exhaust mixes with the low-pressure, cold, high-altitude air, clouds form like your hot breath on a cold day. Some people think that these are actually conspiracy planes dropping mind-controlling chemicals into the air. Others believe they're there for human population control, so to poison us. Some people think they're used for weather modification, which we now know following the recent Olympics is actually a thing that we can do. Nonetheless, I don't believe that chemtrails exist, but the spirit behind the conspiracy may be more legit than we think. It has since been revealed that in the 1950s up until the 1970s, the CIA were conducting a mind control experiment using LSD drugs on American citizens. This is called MK Ultra. So basically, the idea of a government spiking unwitting citizens with chemicals to control them now doesn't seem so far-fetched. Coming in at number 4, we have aliens. Aliens are more of a mathematical probability than they are a conspiracy theory. Almost all scientists will agree that there will be other life out there in the universe and we're not alone. That being said, some people do believe that aliens have already visited Earth, with a lot of UFO sightings taking place in the 1970s. While I am more certain about there being other life out there than I am about possibly being visited, perhaps it is a possibility. Perhaps another worldly species swung by and decided they didn't like what they wanted to see. Perhaps another worldly species swung by and decided they did not want to make official contact for some reason or another, probably because we're historically kind of awful when we meet new people. Coming in at number 3, NASA knows. Alien truth seekers are adamant that NASA knows something that we don't. A lot of people think that they're in cahoots with the government about what we can and can't know. Many people say Buzz Aldrin was silenced after suggesting he saw strange lights racing Apollo 11 while they were orbiting the moon. Recently, Paul Hertz, the astrophysics director at NASA's Washington HQ, vowed that the space agency is not hiding aliens from us. He said, "The only life we know about is life on Earth. NASA is always looking for life out there, and when we find it, we will tell you." Nonetheless, weird conspiracies do exist. Recently, a conspiracist claimed that NASA lied about how far away the moon is. If you want a little laugh today, the hashtag NASA lies is pretty golden. Nonetheless, I would assume that there are some truths to the extent of information NASA's allowed to share with us. Would we be told, for example, if a life-ending asteroid was on track to hit Earth? Who knows, other than NASA. Coming into number 2, we have an old favourite, the Illuminati. The Illuminati is used to refer to a whole different number of powerful groups, as well as being the name for the group of part of their own wider conspiracy theories. The Illuminati was real. They were an Enlightenment-era secret society, and some claim they were responsible for the French Revolution. The official Illuminati is supposed to be dissolved, but the term is still used, along with New World Order, to discuss a higher power group secretly in charge of important goings-on in the world. Walt Disney, for example, was said to have been a member, and he even had a now verified private club in the Disneyland, California. The New World Order is said to include members such as Donald Trump, Beyonce, and the Queen of England. And while I don't buy this particular conspiracy theory, I do think there are definitely elements of truth. There are almost certainly powers much higher than you and I. Finally, coming into number 1, this is pretty much what everyone's talking about these days. Our phones are listening to us. At this point, Is it even a conspiracy, or can we just call this a straight up fact? So I was on the phone to Danny the other day and I mentioned New Zealand over the call, and I did not even type it into my phone, not even my internet browser, then ended the call, bye, then I go on Facebook and New Zealand as a country is being advertised to me. It is listening to me. With Edward Snowden revealing that the government is tracking us, is it actually so hard to believe that our phones might be spying on us too? I don't think it's too much of a stretch. Cyber companies have warned that apps like Facebook and Instagram could be tuning into your conversations. They deny it for now, but like, come on. Make sure you leave a good thumbs up on this video, share with a friend, and stay subscribed for more most amazing lists. Bye!